Well, thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words. Speco is very happy to be presenting today and talking to you about our browser managed access control with video integration piece. And this is not just certainly a sales pitch on Speco, but we do have some great data to go through. First and foremost, we want to make sure that everybody and hope everybody's safe and healthy at home. We know these are some very troubling times that we're in, but we hope everybody's doing well. As many of you know, Speco's been around for many years now. We're actually celebrating our 60th year in business. It's a privately held, family-owned company. Very proud to be with Speco for over 16 years now. And we continue to innovate, bring more value to the market. And hopefully what you see today, you'll be interested in, and we can talk about further as we get down the line here. You can certainly reach out to us for more information and to schedule some follow-ups with our very friendly and knowledgeable reps that we have across the country today. So let me jump right in and certainly encourage any questions. As Michael said, please just put them in the chat. We will follow up at the end with questions. So jump in here. I'll see if I can advance my slides. Okay, so when we talk about access control and video surveillance together, they're certainly very, very large, right? So when we look at the market today, we see that this is actually even a little bit older chart here, but combined video and access are hitting that $18 billion number and growing. So by now it's probably hitting around that $20 billion mark. And then when you combine these together, we want to show how we can really show a trend or a shift towards more video and access integrations and helping to increase revenue by customer. So these transitions, though, are pushing it where you have a learning curve and you need to know and get your techs up to speed very quickly. When we talk about why access just in general, so if we look at the access control market, access is just a great category to be in general. So looking at some studies that we've seen here, the average gross profit is about 30% on an access control installation. So if you look at the average price charge per door or entryway for an access control system, it's about $1,500 or almost $1,560. And then if we take that and then multiply it by the average number of doors at 7.7 doors per installation, just access control alone represents about $12,000 in revenue per install if you're in the commercial side of things and hitting that 7 doors. But even at a single door, 2-door, 4-door market, there's still plenty of revenue to be made. So what we're going to go through today is going to see how do we take that number and put more profit into it. So we make sure that everything you're doing, you have more margin in. So we have to look at what's happening out by the end user too. And then we say, okay, let's look at your end users. Let's see who's out there. And are they asking for integration, video integration with the access control system? My apologies for the slides advancing here. So when we look at that and you look at it by category here, when you have point of sale, VMS, intruder, access control ranks #1 when it comes to integrations with video surveillance. So we're at 3.59% of 3.59 out of 5 as a ranking of people requesting video surveillance with access control. So this fits perfectly into what we're doing. So what I want to identify next is the benefits of using a browser managed access control system versus a software-based system that you might be familiar with today. So when we look at the Speco access line, there's several benefits. We'll mention a few of the key ones today, but we'll also, there's a host more of them that we can get into some detail with you on after in a future meeting. But when we look at the benefits of a browser managed access control system, it's so much, the first thing is you always think it's just so much easier to install. So you're just going to simply log into your network, you put in your IP address, everything is on the network, all of the data resides there. There is no additional software costs when it comes to this. So when you're doing this on a traditional access control system, you'll have the controller, maybe it's a 4-door controller, and then you'll have to add software, which is an additional expense. But you also have to take that piece of software. When you talk about an expense of, okay, it's $450, $700 for the software itself, whatever that cost might be, you have to include the labor involved to install it on the machines. So there's no bloated software packages for Speco Access. So basically, when you're just logging in, you could get these systems up and running in just minutes. So it's very, very simple because I don't have to go around to a PC or a Mac, install that software, wonder if it's compatible. There's zero compatibility issues with any type of device that you're putting it on. It's also HTML5, so if you want to use this on a tablet or a different type of device, it's going to automatically size to that device. So overall, when you look at it and you're having a conversation with your IT manager and they're saying, okay, well, here's two different versions. You have your Speco Access, your browser managed, and then I have a competitor B, which is a software-based system, and you're having the conversation with the IT manager. You may be pretty close in equipment costs, but when you look at the overall total cost of ownership, and the IT manager looks at that and says, okay, what do I have to do as far as maintenance to this system? And if there's updates, upgrades, all that has to be done typically at each machine on a software-based system. With Speco, updates are done automatically. You keep the IT manager very happy that they don't have to worry about going to each person's PC and is it powerful enough? Do they have the right processing? Do they have the right version of Windows? It's all very, very simple in a browser managed system. And as you can see here from this dashboard, it all lines up. When you log in, this is simply what you're going to see. And I'll go through a few examples of what those dashboards will look like. But first, I'd like to just talk about the hardware. So when we look at the hardware, we have just a few SKUs. So this is a lower inventory. You don't have to have a ton of inventory. So we have single door controllers, as you can see here. We have I'm showing in the can here. We have a two-door controller with a Power Plus package, and we'll talk about that in a couple of slides. Actually, the next slide here. We have your built-in power supply. But there's basically just four on the hardware side. On the controller side, there's four different SKUs. So you have a single door controller. You have your A2E4, which is a two-door controller with basic power. You have your A2E4P, so that's the two-door controller with the 12 and 24 volt power to it. And we'll talk about that in more detail in the next slide. And then we have our A2M, which is a two-door expansion board. So when we look at the integrated power for the A2E4P, I'm actually going to ask Yolanda, if you wouldn't mind, can you jump in and take this slide?
Sure. So it's an integrated power supply. So the panel has 4 auto resetting outputs specifically for locks with fire drop, and each output is selectable by jumper to either do 12 or 24 volts. So we use what's called a step-up regulator that takes 12 volt and steps it up to 24 volt. It's a technology that's commonly used in the solar industry right now. Most other power supplies have 3 batteries. Ours is just 1, contained in a compact single enclosure with a 5-foot IEC cord. So it's 1 cord you have to plug in. You don't have to get power strips hung up in the room. So for us, there's fewer issues and service calls over the lifetime of the product.
Okay, thank you, Yolanda. So yeah, so when we look at this, so this obviously saves a lot of time in the install. There's no separate power supply to mount physically. Everything is in the can and ready to go. So you can select. So if you have different voltages of locks at different doors, you don't have to worry about, as she said, different types of batteries to have that for the backup. It's all self-contained, very, very simple to install. So just another slide here on the hardware. So if you look at the hardware and you're purchasing the hardware, so whether you have a two-door controller, a single-door controller, you're going to be able to, our license server is going to allow the hardware to be on demand via an internet connection, so you can enable what those product features are. So I could make my two-door panel a server, and then I could make a single-door controller a client. So how, as an example, real world example, if I had a building and I had a 4-door panel in each building, let's say I had 3 different buildings, and I had a 4-door panel in each one, I'd be able to select the first building as my server and then the others as clients. So this way I can manage them all together. and that'll be through either my remote management connection, or I could just do it through the network. But when I have those together, I have the ability to now, again, manage them together. But if I were to say, okay, I'm going to sell that third building, that building's going to be sold off to a new owner, I can then change that third building from a client back to a server, and then that can operate on its own. So that's all done via the internet connection. So very, very simple. You don't have to buy new hardware or change anything. There's no software to install. It's all going to be changed on demand. So it makes it very, very simple. So we have this server key that you would have, or a client function. Also, you can make it an elevator. You could just change it to an elevator controller. But then there's also a really nice thing called a swap key. So the swap key is really nice because all of the data, since you're on the network, all that data is protected and backed up to the network. So if in the event you had an issue at a single door, and let's say that the controller was corrupt for whatever reason, got damaged by water, fire damage, whatever it might be, what you're going to do is you're just going to swap out licenses. So you don't have to rekey, you don't have to do anything like that. You're just going to take what's the data that's backed up, put in the new device, add the new swap key that you would receive via email to that new device, and all the data that resided on the old device would get uploaded to that new device, and you'd be up and running in just seconds. So there's no need to go back through and reinstall and have to upload new data. So very, very simple. Lower inventory costs. You can keep all the hardware you want and change it as needed. So you can keep it all keyed on demand. So for the remote management connection, I'm actually going to defer to John LaFond on this one. And if John, if you could take this one, if you don't mind.
So embedded within our technology, we have the capability to turn on for all intents and purposes, a VPN element within the product that goes to a cloud service. This cloud service allows a dealer or an administrator to log into it and actually see one or hundreds and hundreds of panels. So you as an integrator, you have the ability to now remotely access your systems from anywhere. In addition to the hierarchical overview of all your panels in the field, the system produces a HTML link. And that HTML link is a hyperlink that effectively allows you to place that within, say, Mana2 or some type of customer contact relationship database, so that you can easily look up a client, click on that particular link, and it takes you directly to the panel. It also allows you to take that same link and provide that to your end user. So if you can imagine today, customers are sitting at home looking to address and manage their access control systems from their homes. They're looking to now transition potentially soon to allow their customers or to allow their employees back into the building. So they now want to be able to securely, remotely access their embedded technologies, their access control systems from outside of their firewalls. So this technology does two things. It allows the dealer a hierarchical overview of all their accounts, providing secure remote access to their panels for programming, co-managed services, updates, backups, etc. Anything that you could do on-site, you can do off-site. It also then provides that same capability for the end user. So it is one of two methods in which Speco Access provides secure remote connectivity to our panels. The second one being through our app, which we'll talk about also.
Thank you, John. So we've gone over a few things, a browser managed system where you can see a few benefits out of the gate. So it's very simple, and with some of the things that we're doing with the integrated power supply and remote management connections. And the next thing, and what you may be here for, is how do you integrate it with video, right? So that's the big piece. So with Speco Technologies and Speco Access, we are integrated out of the box with our NR series recorders. And we're going to go through which models, but we also wanted to emphasize how easy it is to do. And when we look at, again, ourselves versus some of the competition out there, When you look at feature for feature when it comes to cards and threat levels and things like that, we're very similar. But when you do the video integration, I think this is a real big differentiator for Speco. So it makes it very simple because it is one manufacturer that you're dealing with. So it's a simple handshake out of the box. You don't need any third-party software. You don't have to go to different levels of, okay, is it a generic video integration versus with another manufacturer, and is it another license that's $400 or $500? We're going to show you very simply how it sets up, and then we'll talk a little bit about, you know, the overall cost and how we can save you a bit more so you can put that money back in your pocket. So you're going to come to your main dashboard when you log in to the access control system. And when you log in, you're simply just going to click that NVR setting. So you're just going to click that tab. The next thing you're going to do is click New. And you'll see here we have two NVRs that are loaded here, but we're going to add a third. So when we click New, it's going to simply advance us to another screen. That's just going to say, okay, what's the information for the NVR that you have? So it's going to give you that step-by-step connection information. So you're just going to answer these drop-downs, and you put in your IP address and ports and IDs or usernames and passwords, and simply click Add. Very, very simple setup. So once we do that, we're going to end up, it's going to authorize your NVR, and then you're going to want to view it. So again, getting very simple, coming back to my dashboard, I'm going to click on my NVR view. And once I click on that, I'm going to select which one from the drop-down menu that I want to take a look at. So in this case, I have our hybrid unit. It's an HRL. Click on step 2, NVR, or step 2 is you select NVR and click play. And then once you do that, I'm going to take a look at my matrix. What am I in, a 4, 8, or 16 camera matrix view? You'll be able to view that live video if that's your choice. You can certainly do that. It's very, very simple. You can see we have 4 nice images here, outdoor images. So the setup, very, very simple. But if you want to get a little bit more when we talk about access control and how you're integrating it back into the system, you want to make it work for you, right? So we want to make sure that we're managing our cameras. So what do we want those cameras to do upon presentation of a credential? Do we want auto live camera pop-up? So you're just going to generate an event tag for a live camera feed, so that'll come up and you'll see the live person coming through the door. You can just view a camera. If you just want to click on the door, and you can see down here, if I have door 1 and I go to my camera icon here, I just click on there and I can see that live view, and that can stay up. It doesn't necessarily have to be just on an event. And then we can also just do that event tag. So when those items are tagged, you're going to see this camera down next to that event. And when you see that camera, you'll click on there and it'll show you that event for that particular credential read as you come through the door, or whatever that input might be. So this is, very basic. So it's just click to add, couple of steps, put in the NVR information. I can live view, I can manage my cameras very simply. And, then the next part is, how do I get this done? Is there a license? Yes, there is a license, and we'll talk about that next. So with Speco, you're going to pay a licensing fee for the video integration. However, through July, we're actually waiving that fee. So we want to encourage, of course, people to, when you purchase an NVR from Speco, an NR series, or access control system, or both, we want to encourage you to put them together, right? We want you to tie them together. So we're going to waive that fee through July of 2020. And it's also important to note that our licensing fees, despite what it might be, if it's you're upgrading your panel to more users or elevated control, whatever that might be, it's their one-time fees. And specifically for video integration, that one-time fee is per site, not per recorder. So if I have 3 different NVRs on a larger installation, let's say I have 3 different 16-channel NVRs, you're just going to pay that one-time fee for that site. So you'll have, in this case, if we were to charge you, you're going to see that our licensing fee is only $99. So it's a big savings. We have some other folks out there that charge anywhere from $400 to $500 to $600, and it ends up being a huge savings. But I think the biggest value of all is that when you do the video integration piece with one manufacturer, you don't have to worry about compatibility issues between them or what features and benefits from the NVR are going to be compatible with the access control system. It's all going to work out of the box with a couple of simple steps. So very, very simple. The next stage in this is I want to view it, and I want to manage my system, and I want to do it remotely. And I want to be able to do it quickly. So the next thing you want to have is, and which a lot of people don't have, is an app. So I'm actually going to defer to Yolanda again. Yolanda, if you'll jump in and just talk about the app, that would be great.
Sure, no problem. Our app's name is Speco Access, and it's available in the iOS and Android stores today at no cost. Now, with the mobile app, this is great for your mobile managers, someone who's not necessarily on site or is running around the building, not ever in his office. So this gives you the capability to manage your system on the phone. So a couple of things that it can do is it can open and close a door on your system, view the live camera at that door so you can make sure who you're allowing to come into the building before you open the door for them. You can view your event logs. So any events that have happened, you can go down to that history, just like you saw on the dashboard before. It's an event list, and you'll see the video tags that you've associated with those doors. You can tap on that icon, and the actual event will appear on your phone. You can also add, edit, or delete a user on the fly. So the flexibility of where you don't have to necessarily be at a computer to make these changes in case you are not in your desk or out of the office, you can do that as well. And then last but not least is view or change the statuses of your threat levels, which are important in case there's an emergency of any kind. You can do that as well through the mobile app.
Okay, thank you. So very powerful app, and that comes with the system. That's even with our base system, and then so you could use it locally as the app, and then for a small licensing fee, you could actually have that so it is remote view capable outside of the network. So the next step in this is we have to prove, how are we, as Speco's tagline is giving you more. So how do we prove that to you? So you're going to want to see it in some dollars and cents. So I put together a quick slide here just to give you a comparison versus one of our competitors that are out there that do a nice job. But we have to say, okay, how are we doing this from a browser-based, no software included? This is where the difference really lies. So if you look on the right-hand side for a 4-door controller with basic power, software to run those 4 doors, and then a generic video integration license from our competitor Keyscan, they have a total of approximately, and these are average dealer costs of about $2,550, let's say. So if you look at the Speco solution, we would provide the 2-door controller with the basic power, a 2-door expansion module, the mobile app, 4 readers, a 25-pack of clamshell credentials, 4 dome cameras with junction boxes at 4 megapixels apiece, and then an 8-channel NVR with a 2 terabyte hard drive. And we would come in at around $1,925. So you could put this somewhat, virtual kit together with ADI if this is something that you'd wanted to standardize on. Or you could add that Power Plus package that we talked about with the built-in power supply, which is shown here. You could add all that together, and you can see, graphically here, how much more you would get with Speco, because we want to provide that value where you can do the complete video integration with 4 doors at a fraction of the cost of what's out there today. And the biggest part too is there's no additional labor, and you can see on the right side here, you do have to install that software. You do have to make sure that this generic video integration license does fit with the manufacturer that you're using of those cameras, or the NVR, or whatever it might be. With Speco, it's going to work out of the box because it's a Speco to Speco handshake, and it's a very simple setup. So again, browser-based, the NVR license would be emailed to you. Just simply input that into the browser, into the dashboard. Very, very simple setup. So keep this in mind when you're looking. If you have any open jobs that are out there for access control, even if you're going to go forward with another brand, or you think about utilizing another brand, I would just encourage you to hear us out. Let us quote it out for you. Let us just see what the differences are and how much not only money we can save, but time as well. So some of the compatible NVRs that we have 3 different NVRs in the lineup that are compatible out of the box. That is our NRL series, which is our entry-level 4K at 30 frames per second, H.265, all built-in PoE. We have a couple of versions here that we're showing you, so you can take a look here. We have the built-in PoE ports on the back. Very simple setup. We have something in all of our NR series that's called Easy Search for your end user. So when they go in to search video, 24 one-hour clips. If something's missing, let's say you had an issue where you are on vacation, you come home, your car was stolen out of your driveway, you don't know what day it was, you're going to look at those 24-hour clips. And then let's say at noon, you're going to see that your car is there, it's gone at 1 o'clock. I'm going to click my 12 o'clock hour, and it's going to give me 60 one-minute clips. Then I can see at 12:04 it was there, but then it's gone at 12:05. Once I click on that, then I'll see exactly in that minute what happened there, and I can simply offload that data. Our NVRs come with QR code networking too, so you're simply going to download the app, scan the QR code, and it'll be set up for you very quickly. So just minutes there. So some really nice key features. When we get up into the NR series, we look at this one. This is actually very similar to the NRL, but the NRP series, you'll have additional storage, so I can do up to 28 terabytes of storage with my 2 SATA drives. And I do have some object and line crossing detection alerts, smart search. So there are some basic analytics here, but where we really jump up is with our NRE series recorder. So this is where you get the facial recognition and smart analytics. So facial recognition is critical, because as you look at the access control, you're going to want to talk about 2-factor authentication. I want to get into a touchless type of system now with everything going on with COVID and nobody wanting to, touch anything. All right, so you're going out into the store, everybody's wearing masks. You don't want to touch anything, doors or anything. You can now start to create a touchless 2-factor authentication, and our NRE series will do facial recognition, and you just need a camera. So the camera and the NVR have to talk to each other, and then you're going to present your credential, and then you would have 2-factor authentication. So here is just a lineup of the readers that we offer and credentials. So you'll see here on these top to the right, these 4 proximity readers. One of them, the one on the end here, is a Bluetooth reader. That Bluetooth range is up to 15 feet, and of course you can adjust it to be lower if you want somebody to be closer to the reader to present. And then the proximity, of course, you have your proximity ranges of 5 to 7 inches on average, where you could keep it touchless, and somebody just has to keep the car that they have on them. That, of course, they could sanitize and keep clean on their own. So full complement of readers and controllers. And then here's a little bit more information on the 2-factor authentication. So the 2-factor authentication, you can simply see here, we have a picture of a face coming in. We have with the camera and the NVR together, and then I present my second credential to get me through the door. So just to go through a few things. So when we look at our Speco Access overall, so you're out of the box ready. When we look at, initially when we talk about the integration and more people wanting video and access combined together, when you have that, you have a learning curve for your tech. So you want that learning curve to be as small as possible, right? As quick as possible. I want to get them up and running. So the browser managed, very, very simple. They don't need to be IT managers, so to speak, when they're loading software and compatibility and learning, having usernames and passwords to get into PCs to begin with, or Mac compatibility. It's all very simple. So it's faster set up. It's fully scalable. You can go to hundreds of doors. You get much higher profits. And then you could sell these systems at a higher price. So without having all that back-end labor, you can certainly go out at the same cost that you have with other manufacturers that are out there, but you could save a lot on the back end, and put that money to the bottom line, put that profit back in your pocket. So it's going to fit more installations. It's easy to learn and use, and encrypted. Who owns the data? A lot of people are saying, in a cloud-based installation, if everything just goes to the cloud, that is owned by the person who's charging you that monthly fee, that data. So how do you get that data? So we're very secure and reliable. The seeing is believing here is basically the video integration piece. This low total cost of ownership, less headaches for your end users. They don't have to call you back 100 times about a PC not being compatible or the system shut down. They're just logging in and they're moving. So just a little recap here. So we have value leading capabilities with the built-in video, reduced inventory, very significantly less complex than software-based systems. Easy wizard. It's very simple to set up. There's an entire help screen, help command screen that will guide you through every step of the process for setting up cards and users and authority levels, all those things, threat level management. It's all there, all in this system and ready for you turnkey. So this final slide is just basically, this is a sale that we've been running through ADI. It's a spring savings sale, but I've highlighted, just so you can see from the video side, if you're not familiar with our surveillance solutions, you haven't used Speco Video right now. The NRL, we look at the 4-channel and 8-channel, we're at 177 and 218, approximately right there for the sale pricing. And then if you look at some of the cameras, they're $100 for a 4-megapixel vandal weather resistant dome with an included junction box and 5-year warranties. So we'd encourage you to take a deeper dive into Speco, looking at the access, integrating the video. We are 100% here to help. We have an entire network of independent reps and Speco reps across the country. We do systems design, tech support help. We're always here to help out. We want to help you. We want to help you win. We want to encourage you to reach out to us and bring those opportunities to us. Let us help you spec it out. You can always reach out to us in general through our website. You can reach out to me directly. My name is right on the end slide here. I'm TJ Dickson. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing for Speco, and my email address is right there. You'll get a copy of this slide deck, and this is being recorded. So Michael Masson will have this up and running for you just shortly too. So that's the Speco presentation. I appreciate your time so much. Really do appreciate it. And at this point, I think Josh is going to jump in and say a few words.
Yeah, TJ, thanks for putting that together for us. I'd like to thank TJ, John, Yolanda, everybody at the Speco family. Like Mike said in the beginning, Speco's been an excellent partner of ADI's for many, many years. Also like to say thanks for Mike for helping host all of these webinars. Hopefully you guys, our integrators, are getting something out of this. I know ADI, it's been very successful for us, and we've had a lot of luck with it. My name is Josh Blanford. I'm the supervisor for the video surveillance and access control team here in Louisville, Kentucky at the Systems Design Center. If you don't use us, what we do is help design products and projects. So customers will call us. We'll help make sure that you have a complete bill of materials when you're going out to quote a job. It can save you a lot of time, making sure that you've got all of the research done properly, making sure that you've got all of the part numbers that you're going to need to get an end-to-end solution. If you're not using us, we'd love to talk to you. Our phone number, our email address is posted on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and of course on our website. And we cover the United States. We have a team in Canada, and we also cover Puerto Rico. Again, my name's Josh. Thank you guys so much for putting this together, and thank you everybody for attending. So TJ, I'll give that back to you, I guess, for maybe a little Q&A.
Thank you very much. And I think we did get a few questions that came through. And if John or Yolanda, if you could jump in and just answer those questions.
TJ, one of the questions was as far as the Bluetooth reader, if you could use mobile credentials. And yes, our Bluetooth reader has the capability of a mobile credential that'll stay on that phone, as well as using some of our smart cards that we offer today, that whether that be just a regular PVC or a clamshell card, a key fob. Those are some of the other credentials available for the Bluetooth reader.
And we had another one that came through, a question came through, and John, maybe if you could jump in on this one. What are the reporting capabilities of the system? Many clients have compliance requirements which require monthly, quarterly, et cetera.
I think there's a couple here that would be good. So one is there's a key to access control is having really good reports. And so we have a whole host of different pre-canned reports that you can run and export those reports for your compliance related applications. But we do also offer a report writer that we refer to it as a smart report. And the smart report has an integrated wizard that effectively allows you to set the input criteria, meaning you want to look at the data from the month before, a quarter before, automatically, and you can select any table, any piece of data that the system generates you have access to, and you can create a report in a specific format, and you can export it as a text file, as a CSV, as a HTML, and obviously you can print it at the same time too. So it's very, very flexible. The best thing about the product from a custom report standpoint, you're not taking it out to a third party. It's all completely integrated within the utility itself. The product has, in the different models, we can store up to 50,000 events on the product itself. It then also on a daily basis or on the number of events or transactions on a daily basis, we can automatically take that data and export it back or export it out to an FTP and or to an SD card that's stored on the product itself. So you have the ability to store years worth of information for your reporting purposes. The second question in here says, who owns the data stored in the cloud and what's the cost? So what's really unique about our approach is that we're a hybrid approach. And when I refer to that, the hybrid is the fact that you have secure remote connectivity via the cloud, but all the data is actually stored at the edge. So if the cloud went down or an environmental issue occurred where you couldn't access the cloud, you still have all the data at the edge. So the client owns the information and all the data is retained locally. So you can ping it at the cloud, you can get it through your app, or you can go 192.168.0.250 and access it locally. So there is no ongoing cost. We have a one-time fee to turn on the RMC function, and I believe it's $199. And again, it's per system. So if you have 100 doors, it's the same cost. If you have one door, it's that same cost. And that's for the life of the system. Sorry.
John, there's an additional question here. It says, I am aware that Speco, and this is Gilbert Fortin. Gilbert, thank you for the question. I am aware that Speco Access is ultimately designed to integrate with Speco recorders. However, is it integratable with other VMS, Exact, Digital Watchdog, Spectrum, et cetera?
No, it is not.
It will be, though, TJ, integrated with our SecureGuard VMS.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, and then I think there's a few more questions in the chat area. I'm just going to check there real quick before we let everybody go. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. No, I think we've covered all the questions here. Okay, so if there's nothing else, I just want to thank everyone again for your time today. Again, there will be a recording of this, and from everyone at Speco, we wish you all the best, and please stay safe, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Hey, TJ, one just popped in there, bud.
I did. Okay.
Another question.
Let's hear it. Okay. Yolanda, I might need your help on this one. Facial recognition accuracy when users are wearing a mask.
Right now with the O2 BFRM that we currently have with the NRE series, I haven't tested it myself, but I don't believe it will work. We do offer the safer facial recognition integration with our VMS that I do know that we have tested, and it is functioning with wearing mask. We could get back to you directly, Scott, if we could get your email, and we can answer that question directly to you just as soon as we test that function.